Okay, so let's see if we can say anything useful or interesting. This is an off-the-cuff kind of recording. I've got some notes down here about stuff that has been happening to me over the last week or two. So yeah, what's been coming to me is this idea of kid wisdom. So I've been doing some inner child work with my mentor, and I always thought that the adults had it sorted. You look at teachers, when you look back at teachers you think, flippin' heck, what were they doing really? They don't know what they're doing any more than the kids sometimes. You do need to learn something from adults, obviously. They should bring some consciousness. But actually kids have this knowledge, this knowing, and this is the energy that's coming online for me, is this kind of internal knowing of what's right and wrong. It's kind of a purity really. And that sounds weird. We normally look down on kids as being selfish or needy or not aware, but actually they can have a really strong purity. They know when things aren't right, when things don't right, and they can kind of sense through bullshit really. So there is a wisdom to the kid, to the child, which I'm really bringing online in myself. And it's also a not helpless energy. So when you think of kids, you think, or inner child work, you think of helplessness and being stuck and unaware and having no agency. But really, there is a strength to that inner child. There's a real determination and a curiosity and a natural aliveness that we can bring online to just flow in the world and bring our creativity out into the world, and our playfulness and our exploring and our building, all those things we did as kids, building forts, climbing trees, going off into nature, going off into the city or the town, exploring it, finding new things. We had an energy for exploration and growth for ourselves. And adults a lot of the time seem to have the opposite. They seem to go into ever decreasing circles. As you get older, you stay within your habits, you get less friends, you get stuck within your day-to-day work life. It becomes about routines, and then you stop going on holiday or stop taking breaks, and it's just work all the time. So I think it's really important to keep that kind of energy into adulthood and really grow it. And yeah, this creative energy is really coming online for me. And what is making me think about is how when I meditate, sometimes there can be kind of this want for some enlightenment to come in, some kind of big experience or some knowledge about the universe or myself. And normally I just put that to the side and just continue with the meditation. But I'm just noticing now how actually I'm getting that inspiration. I'm having so much creativity at the moment. There's so much stuff I want to do and explore that is my big experience. And it's kind of online all the time, not while I'm meditating. It does come up when I'm meditating. I get very creative. The mind gets very busy when I close my eyes and sit still, or kind of still. A lot of stuff comes up, and that's my big experience. I'm getting all this creativity, and that's perhaps more useful on this physical plane. It's probably more useful in a way to be creative and make the world better when you live in a physical body, when you live on the earth, rather than being in a cerebral kind of knowing about the reality of the universe or how consciousness works. That's great, and I've had experiences that have taught me a lot about that. But it's kind of more rewarding, and you feel more at home in this life when you have that energy of creating and being a part of it and expressing to people and engaging, and you're bringing you to each conversation and whatever you do, and it has traces of you on everything you do, and that ripples out, and people are getting something from it, and they're enjoying engaging with you. And this is quite important to me because a lot of the time I've felt like I've had a lot of energy. I think as a kid I always felt like I had a lot of energy having to sit still at school and do text, writing, homework, I was more into exploring and getting things like quickly, experientially. So I'd do something and I'd learn it really quick. But when it came to like studying and I was forcing myself to do it, I found it really difficult. I mean, I've got ADHD. No, I know I have ADHD now, so that probably explains it. But I don't think the label is necessary. I think most people can relate to that. But yeah, that tunes into that idea of the kid having this energy, this purity, this wisdom, and this exploring and this natural creativity comes from them. So getting in touch with that, I've got so much creativity. I'm working on 4 YouTube channels and just loving it, just loving creating, and it's just flowing into my life. And what it's telling me is this big energy, this change, what I've always been waiting for is there wanting to come out into the world. And it's me that's afraid of it sometimes. It's almost like I've got too much ideas, I can't decide what to work on. Or it shows up at night before bedtime when I close my eyes. Even if I've exercised, even if I've been to the sauna or cold plunge, or even if I'm physically tired, I have this creativity just flowing up. And at the moment I can actually, in the last few weeks and months, I've had this kind of feeling in my stomach, abdomen, where it's like a tendency, it's almost like a creativity just building up and flowing through my system. So it might be a Kundalini kind of awakening or that kind of thing, but I just feel so creative, and it feels so good to be in flow with that and to allow it and to find outlets for it. And it took a while to figure that out and to be in flow with it, because it used to feel like the mind was on the top trying to control all this energy. I always used to want more energy and to be more creative, more expressive, and just to be more alive. But really I was avoiding it. The mind was saying, oh my God, all this energy, I've got to do something with it. I've got to regulate it. I've got to get rid of it at times so I can sleep. Or what am I going to do with it? It did not like having energy. But it's the same type of control that the mind can have around expressing yourself or not telling people things. It can hold back, and you're not showing your true self. Or it might say don't create something because someone will judge it. So you might get all these messages from the mind that are don't do. Either don't do or stick to your lane, stick to your habits. And that's the same energy that you often see adults and old people having. They're controlling themselves. They're not going off and doing random things. They're not expressing. They're not doing karaoke. They're not exploring some weird new country or a new hobby. They tend to stay in their lanes and get less and less friends. And yeah, they could do more with that kid wisdom, that creative energy. And finally, the other thing that's coming through to me is this idea of, I'd always thought about going to California or living abroad, or these images would come to my mind. Perhaps I'd see an advert for travel, or I'd see someone on YouTube that's successful, and I'd want that life or part of that life. And what's coming through to me is that life is in you, that creativity. Just start doing the things you want to do and you will make that life. It's not about where you are. It's about feeling connected where you are and feeling like you're important and you'll have purpose and you're expressing and your energies can flow. And it's us holding us back in that respect. Normally it's us holding us back. Even if other people are holding us back, we're letting them. We're taking their opinion on. And there's always something we can do to break through that. We can break through and express. And that's how you get to the life you want, is by expressing, creating and letting yourself flow through. And some of that is that kid wisdom and not going into sort of boring habits that aren't satisfying you in life. So to summarise that, what I've written down is be the heart of the adventure. So if you have these images of things you'd like in your life and they keep coming to you and you're judging them, you're judging your life as not matching up to this dream life, just remind yourself you need to be the heart of the adventure. Even if you're at that place, a different location, that wouldn't make it all better. You would still be holding yourself back perhaps. And yeah, be the heart of your adventure.